And welcome everyone. Here we are, January 2018. This is Zija International's new distributors training, and it's a pleasure to be with you. I'm standing in for the host, which is Triple Diamond Executive Fred Holmes, generally oversees this training. He is right now getting some well-earned R&R in an undisclosed island in the South Pacific. Hope you're having a good time. Aloha, Fred. And I'm very excited to share some information with you today. Now, we're going to touch on a couple of resources, and then I'm going to bring on a very special guest. I'm so excited. I hope you guys have your pen and paper out and questions ready, because this is going to be interactive today. But first, I want to direct you to a couple things. See, when I began, I had no previous experience. And I'm very lucky that someone that brought me in knew what to do. Fred instructed me to do a fast start training and learn our duplicatable system. Because what I figured, it was going to take me a year to pay back my credit card I purchased my package with. I had it all budgeted out. I did the system, I followed it, and in 30 days in a business I'd never done before, I made my first checks. In fact, I paid back the credit card, much to my amazement. And it showed me that I didn't have to know not only everything, I didn't have to know anything to get started. Just follow the simple system we have in place and go find a couple people. So, given that, Fred has already provided us with some wonderful recordings. He has a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Fred Holmes Zija. That's F-R-E-D. Holmes is H-O-L-M-E-S. And of course, Zija, Z-I-J-A. I really encourage you to go there and just scroll down a little bit. You'll see a couple links for 2 different fast start trainings. He's made them bite-sized because we're all busy, right? I had to fit this in and around a few jobs and raising a daughter alone. We can do this in little chunks, however it fits into your life. Do those fast start trainings. And in addition, I also really love his training on the memory jogger. He makes it a game. He makes it really fun, and it really helps you build your lists. Then when you get a couple people and you're getting rolling, maybe you really want to start focusing on treating this like a business, daily method of operation. It really gives you some great insight on how to organize yourself and make the most of each day, no matter how much time you have, even if it's 15 minutes. And then at some point, the daily method of operation leads into the 90-day game plan. For me, I'm an average person. I can't think infinitely. I love the 90-day game plan because it allows me to have a chunk that I can wrap my mind around. It's finite. I can make a goal. I can plan for it. And if I don't reach it, that's okay. I can look and see what I missed, right? Make the adjustment, make a new 90-day game plan. But it really makes this, I think, very approachable. So I encourage you, as you grow, to tag into those trainings. Now, here's another terrific resource, www.clubmoringa.com. Pat Anderson has provided us with a site with a plethora of trainings, as well as an opportunity to tag into different, leader stories. We call them diamond videos. When you hear other people's stories, it gives you confidence. I know for me, plugging into those things, we call it plugging into the system, kept me motivated, kept me in touch with why I was doing this, and inspired me. So I encourage you to reach out to those resources, get those basics that you need. I particularly love her 2x2. It's Life Unlimited 2x2, that just really shows you how simple this can be. So now for the best part of our training, which is to bring on one of my favorite people in Zija, Reid Nelson. This man and his wife Yvonne are not only 2 of the top most effective leaders in our company, but they're literally icons, veterans of this industry, an incredible success track record. And let me just pop over here and find you, Reid, so we can bring you on over. Oh, hang on, I just pressed the wrong thing. I know you're in here. There you are, and we're going to move you right on over. Today's topic, which is really fun, is what you don't need to know in your first week of Zija. And I picked that because I'll tell you, hi, Reid, thanks for joining us. Oh, let me unmute you there. Everyone will really appreciate that. There you go. Hi.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, so I figure there's probably some people like me out there, Reid, that, well, if there's any type A personalities that feel you have to know everything before you begin, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you could be actually making paychecks as you go while you learn. Reid, you're the perfect person to talk to about all of this. So if you would, share with us, in your opinion, not only what you don't need to know, but the only thing you do need to know when you're starting out in this business.
Okay, great. Number one, thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
I was at the gym the other day when I called, and I walk a mile a day every day, and you walked the whole mile with me. It was great. It made time go quickly. It was great. So let me preface this by saying, if I'm teaching something or talking about things that your upline may not be doing, disregard that and go check with them. I hope I'm not saying anything out of line or anything like that. But if I am, if done something that they don't do, make sure you're doing what they're doing, because this is all about duplication. And all too often we do things and we're excited about them, but they're not necessarily duplicatable. And it comes right down to the that very thing. It's a duplication. So I'm going to refer to what both Fred and David Moses always say about the first 48 hours. They're very plain on what should happen in the first 48 hours. Number one, they talk about, define your why. Why are you doing this? If you don't have a reason, you're not going to do it anyway. So you got to have a reason. You're excited about something. Is it the business opportunity? Is it the product? Is it helping people? What is it?
Yeah.
What is it that really inspires you to do this? If you think you need to define that, what that looks like, and then plug in. Now, when I say plug in, you've already talked about that a little bit. We already have websites and things. We don't need to recreate anything. And there are people that want to do that, and that's okay, and that's kind of in their DNA, so to speak. Attempt to withhold yourself from doing that, because clubmoringa.com is there, Fred's there. You've got ZJNation.online. You got all these things that are there, and our main thing is clubmoringa.com. Almost anything we need is there. Yeah. We don't really have to go anywhere else. It's all there, And on Saturday mornings here, you got Fred doing the basic training, which is awesome. Send your group here. Every week it's here. Just send them here. You don't have to spend hours and days training your people. Send them here. We get those basic things right here every single Saturday morning. So unless it's a holiday or something, And then, plug in. Okay, so that means to those websites, things like that. Because one of the things I run into a lot is people want to get this or something like this. They want to memorize all this stuff. Well, I got to know all this stuff. Oh my God, no, you don't. That's the reason this is there. Somebody says, hey, I got gout or something. Well, just say, okay, well, let's see what we can do for that. Look it up in here and say, this is what you do. That's duplicatable. Coming off the top of your head with how to fix it because you know all this stuff isn't necessarily duplicatable, because then people think they have to know all that stuff. And the average guy, girl won't do that. It's not going to happen. So remember, you use tools to duplicate. You don't use your memory. Okay, it's kind of important.
That's excellent. No, and in fact, just to tell one on myself, I was doing great there for a while, just following the system. But I was so excited about all the material, I was kind of doing that. I was taking in everything I could, learning whatever I, could absorb. And sure enough, that started creeping into the invitation. And I'll never forget, I called Fred one day and I said, I'm kind of dropping a little bit in momentum. I'm not sure what's wrong. And he said, well, I got one guess for you. Well, what's that? You're probably not doing the system. Oh, right. You mean like doing the presentation? Uh-huh. And sure enough, began to notice people's eyes start glazing over. That's the first sign that you're probably going past step one, which is peak, right? Or invite someone to look at this. So exactly. I fully agree.
Yeah, we want to be, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with wanting knowledge. Nothing wrong with that at all. But you want to take that hours maybe between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. to do all your studying. Don't do it in prime business building time. Right. You want to be talking to people in that time. So, and other thing I mean when I say plug in is, know who your upline is. Tell them go meet them. You want to know your sponsor, you want to know your upline from them and them and them. All those, if they're active, you want to know who they are. So you can do 3-ways with them, via Zoom things like this with them. So you can do 3-ways live and things like that. You want to be able to know who they are so you're comfortable using them. Because I tell
Okay,
you what,
so if your sponsor hasn't introduced you, what you're saying is to track them down, call them up, let them know you're on fire, ready to go. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, yeah. And they can help you that way. If they don't know who you are, number one, there's a lot of people in this organization. And so if they don't know who you are, you know, the old thing, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, it does, you know. And so you want to make sure that you're not only your sponsor knows who you are and that you're excited and enthused about this, but so does their upline and their upline. And when I say that, I'm not talking about there's 100 people between you, but the people that are really active, the ones who can really help you do this, because you want to know who those I'm not going to say important. Everybody's important, you know, but it's one of those things where, you know, I wanted to, if I wasn't personally sponsored by Pat, I'd want to know Pat. You know, I want to know somebody I can plug into for certain things and certain personalities, because we all have different personalities. And
Right,
so
good point.
I mix the hat, so to speak, and make sure or match the hat so they can fit this person with that personality when I introduce. Because you know what? I'm going to throw a figure at you. I've used this for many, many years. You have an 80% greater chance of sponsoring somebody when you're not by yourself.
Okay, so the first two lessons of what not to do. Number one, don't reinvent the wheel, right?
Yes.
Number two, don't do this by yourself.
Exactly. You have a team, and you know, it's so important. Yet some people, they just like the Lone Rangers, you know, go out and do everything by themselves, you know, and it's not the way this works. You know, you'll have a short-lived run if you don't plug people in. And so it's really, really important. You know, if you knew out of every 10 people, you'd sponsor five to six, seven, eight of them. If you just did a three-way, bringing in somebody else, would you do it? Of course you would. But some people still don't.
Okay, so that's one we'll talk about too. I have a couple questions here. Someone wants to know, how do you order Guru Life?
I think I just saw that come by.
Okay. And I love that someone answered here. Thank you. From Mary, zijabiztools.com. I love it, you guys. So that's teamwork, right?
That's right. That's right.
So in case you can't all see that, that's Zija Biz, B-I-Z, Tools. And the sites we're talking about is clubmoringa.com, offered by Pat Anderson, or youtube.com/Fred Holmes Zija. And really everything, there's so much out there, of course. And as Reid said earlier, thank you for mentioning that. I wanted to put that in. We all work together. We honor everyone's leaders. And it's wonderful, and we encourage you to get perspectives till you find, as Reid was saying, the person that you really connect with, or the several people, hopefully, that you really connect with. We're really, really focused on being on the same page and really moving this duplicatable system out into the world so anyone can have this, right, Reid?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, that brings me to number 3. So we defined your why. You know, in the beginning, it doesn't have to be a massive why. It just has to be what inspires you to do something. You know, plug in, introduce yourself to your upline, plug into the quote system. You know, share Zija. Number 3, share Zija. Talk to people. Hello, talk to people. You know, this is all about people. And so if you really care about people, talk to them, for heaven's sakes. You know, and I wrote something down here. Be enthusiastic, be excited, be enthusiastic. People are attracted to our energy. They're attracted to our energy. So if we're excited, they want to know what's up, especially the people you know. They know when something's changed. They know when something's different, you know, and say, wow, what's he up to or she up to? You know, what's that all about? You know, whoa, where'd that come from? And so it's really important, and tell people what you're excited about. Now, if you just came in here and had a marvelous product experience, which a lot of people do, tell them. Tell your story. I mean, that is it. The energy you exude telling your story attracts people. Okay? Now, in the beginning of this, you know, we didn't really have a whole lot of product experience, and we were excited about this business opportunity. We tell people about that. It's a great opportunity. It's the best opportunity I've seen. You know, we looked at 100 companies before we decided on Zija. So it's like, and there was nothing even close to this, you know? So this is amazing. We have to tell people about that with energy. Be excited about what you're excited about. If that's business, great. If that's product, great. But when you're talking about the things you're excited about, it's very genuine. It shows.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I love about this company is that you get that from the ground up, the transparency, the enthusiasm, the energy, the excitement, right? It's pervasive in the company. So why not be part of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Of course. And so, and then lastly, in their the first 48 hours, like, stay connected. Call your sponsor every day. Call your upline that you're plugged into every day. Don't irritate him. Say, hey, listen, this is what I've done today. Or, you know what? I didn't do anything today. Well, I suck. Whatever. But stay connected. Stay connected. Now, every Wednesday night, Pat Anderson does a call on the products with somebody, bringing in new product stories and different perspectives on the product. And Thursday night, Fred does a call, which you've been doing here since he's been on vacation, about the business opportunity. So you got a Wednesday night product call, a Thursday night business call, and you got a Saturday morning training call. Plug in, get your new people there. I mean, it's pretty simple if we use it.
Yeah, and I love that you're emphasizing that it's the sponsor the new teammate taking on the responsibility to connect with their sponsor.
Yeah, I mean, the phone works both ways. Well, I haven't talked to my sponsor in a month. Well, whose problem is that? Yours or the sponsor? Usually we don't call them because we're not doing anything. We're subconsciously, we're not working, so I have nothing to say, so I'm not going to call, blah, blah, blah. You know what? That's when you need them the most.
And when you say as a leader, it's a natural inclination that you pay attention to the people who are paying attention?
Yeah. Well, the squeaky wheel gets the grease again. And so if somebody's excited and they want this, regardless if they're having challenges, we all have challenges. That's what's going to happen. None of us are perfect. None of us have the perfect day ever, really. And so it's one of those things people say, oh, man, you guys are top of the world and all that stuff. Well, that's not the reality of it all. The reality of it all is that I liked at the convention when I think it was Brandon Hayes said, I've had 6 great nights in Zija. And those were the nights he found found that new person that really wanted it. So out of literally, probably in his case, I don't know how long he's been involved exactly, but years, right? And so thousands of people he's talked to, thousands of meetings and things like that. He's had 6 great nights. A lot of good nights probably, but 6 awesome nights. Well, were those 6 nights worth it for them? Duh. And that's what we got to think about, because it's not all roses. There's work to do, and it's fun work. Well, what's work? We're just talking to people. We're sharing our story. We're telling people about what we're excited about. And we're going to attract some. We're not going to attract some. So what? It doesn't matter. We're just there to go through the motions with excitement and with trust in ourselves and with belief in what we're doing. I mean, we've been around network marketing in March 46 years. Unbelievable. And so it's like, and I've never met a Ken Brailsford before. Not nobody like that out there. He was such an attraction to us. It was like, wow, and not only his experience, his demeanor, his honesty, his personality, he was just down to earth, normal human being, who just wants to win and wants everybody else to win, and is willing to do whatever it takes to do it. And he's done that. He's a living example of that. And so we just have to emulate that and do more ourselves. We want our businesses to grow. We have to talk to more people. It's pretty simple.
Absolutely. So we've got begin with your why, connect to your upline, start sharing, and stay in touch so that you can remain motivated and hopefully also guided.
Yeah, and you want to set some business goals, and that's what you want to do with your upline. If your sponsors really, because some sponsors are as new as you are, they don't know much. It took me about 6 months to really grasp this comp plan, because it wasn't totally different than what we were doing before, So it took me some time, probably more than some others. That's okay, Well, we need to set some basic goals on what you want. If it's a money thing, well, how much? And be clear with it. How much? And one of the questions I like to ask people is, how much money would it take to keep you interested? In this business, how much would it take to keep your interest? Because we know if most people are making $400, $500, $600 a month, they're not going anywhere. We know that. That's just company and statistics from our industry. If people are making money, they won't go. They won't leave. But if they're not, there's a chance they might. Some people won't stay just for the product, whatever. But this company, I believe, is a lot different, because a lot of people do stay for the product because it is so doggone good, But we've got to get people at a point where they have a goal. What are they shooting at? Well, is it Builder 500? No. Is it bronze? Is it emerald? What is it? And if it's a money thing, identify how much money that is, and then you have to get to the level where that income is there. And then build on that. It's not overly difficult, but if we don't know what that is and we're not talking to our people, we won't know. So part of that, sitting down with that new person in that first little while, is, what do you want? It's that why again. Is it money? Is it product? What is it? And if you're going to do the business, how much really makes a difference to you? What will keep your interest?
I love that question. I'm going to steal that, Reid. It's terrific. And you don't even have to know anything about the compensation plan. There's a running joke with all the diamonds of how many diamonds, it's an average 6-figure residual income. I have no idea. How does it, as Fred says, how does the comp plan work? Real good.
Real good. Heard that before. So, well, you know what? In the beginning, you have all these ways of making money, and people look at that and go, deer in the headlights.
Right.
How do I even explain that, And so just remember this. There's really only 3 things a brand new person gets to participate in anyway. That's retail sales, right? Fast start commissions and team bonuses. That's pretty much it until you start breaking Builder 500 yourself. Then the team builder bonus comes in. But other than that, up until you get to the leadership check match at Emerald, that's all there is. And by the way, all there is could be pretty doggone good.
Yep.
That can be $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a week before there's any of those other pools and bonuses and things. So, but remember, keep it simple, keep it duplicatable. If it's not simple, they can't do it. They cannot do it. That's why I'm so grateful that some of these sites are already there. We don't have to go out and create all that stuff. It's already there. We can just spend our time, or invest our time, if you will, talking to people, which is the only really productive thing we can do. There's nothing else really that's all that productive. Talking to a person, and talking to that new person every single day. If a person's on a slow train, which I highly don't recommend, slow, people say, I'm doing it slow and steady. Well, I don't think there is much of a thing as that. You're either going really fast forward or you're kind of maintaining or going backwards. There really isn't much of it. Just keep the same, And so when you're new, I suggest highly you go on the attack. With whatever time you have, you go on the attack. And, with technology today, there's absolutely no reason a person, and I know I'm going to scare some people with this one, but there's no reason a person can be contacting 10 people a day from their list. Sending them a video, popping them into a text message. It's so simple. Hey, listen, Harry, this is Reid. I just got involved with a company called ZJ. It's awesome. I'd love to share something with you. So with your permission, I would like to send you a video. You take a look at it. It's only 3 minutes long, and then we'll talk. That's it. Now, how long does that take? Of course, you have to type it out, whatever. But, you can do it on the telephone. You can text it. For those people that are terrified of the telephone, text it. We know from statistics that 95% of the people don't return their emails, so don't use email unless you absolutely know they're going to read it. 95% don't. But on the other hand, 95% of the people do read their text messages. So they're going to get text before they're going to get email. And so we did a lot of that. Still do. We have these little computers in our hands. Use them, for heaven's sake. And that will probably take you, what's the 3-minute video? That's the little animated video on the Moringa. Very nice. Very good little video. And they also have the ZJ Moringa video, which was new at the convention. It's about 5 minutes. It's also very, very good. And so whatever your personality fits, send one of those 2 videos as a warm-up to that new person. But keep it simple and do a lot of it. And you know what? And if you need help, call for help. Help! I need some help here. Because there isn't anybody here that I know of who would really not help you.
Right.
Cross-line included. Most everybody in this business I've met has been very helpful, really helpful. And so we all want to help each other. And, I've had cross-line people do 3 ways with people in our organization. Happens all the time because they match the hat, so to speak, with this person's personality plus what they do for a living type thing. And because we don't always relate to everybody, nobody does. We have to do some of that. So anyway, we really, really, really just have to do the basic thing. That's talk to people.
Talk to people. That's the lesson, right? What not to do, Don't spend your time studying the comp plan, the products, trying to understand your back office. None of those things will get you a fast start story, which what does that mean? It means putting a paycheck in your hand,
Yeah,
demonstrating for someone that it works.
absolutely. And Pat Anderson told us early on, of course, not that we listened very well, told us early on, the name of the game is when you first sponsor somebody, help them get there too. I mean, that's what we should be focusing on. When somebody gets involved and they want to, and now I'm not talking about a customer. If somebody identifies themselves basically as a wholesale buyer, they just want to use a product, I'm not talking to them. I'm talking about somebody saying, I would like to build this, you know? Well, great. Our first goal then is what? Sponsor your first two, ASAP. Put one on the right, one on the left, you're beginning. You know, I drove over to Boise, Idaho last summer, which is an 8-hour drive for me, just to watch Chris Estes do a program. So I want to see what he did. I had no idea what he was doing. And so I just drove over there and did it. And had a great time. And, you know, he just, at the end of his little presentation, he did a little how to do the business. Guess what he did? He drew himself, and then one right and one left, and then one right and then one left, and then one right, one left, and back and forth like that on a whiteboard. And he explained to people, well, this guy quit and this guy didn't do it, and blah, blah, blah. And finally down here to the way, somebody finally took off and all that. But he just brought the whole thing to life in a very simple way. Just one right, one left. Well, we know that the average person in network marketing sponsors 2. That's all they ever do. So what would happen if in the first week or so we help them sponsor those first 2, and then as a leader we help those 2 sponsor their first 2? It's all they ever did. It would grow. It would grow. Now you may not get to be a quadruple ripple dipple, you know, or whatever. The top of the heap, you know, crown diamond, whatever. You're not going to get that crown diamond elite with just 2 people. We know you're going to have more than that. But that's where it begins, right? That's where it begins. So for me to you, the first goal we have is to help those people sponsor their first 2, one right, one left.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping it that simple. And, you know, I always say to people, you're not necessarily looking for people who need it. Actually, everyone needs Moringa. We know that. But we're looking for a couple people that want what you want. And, you know, when you feel nervous starting out, just consider, you know, you wanted it, Reid. Pat wanted it, Fred wanted it, David wanted it, Chris Estes wanted it, Noreen Ziegler wanted it, and you can go on and on and on. People want this. It's just a matter of finding who it is, right? So on average, how many people would you say, I mean, I know that's kind of hard to pinpoint, but for someone brand new wanting to get a sense of this, about how many people, you know, should they go talk to maybe actually succeed in finding their first 2 business builders?
Probably 10.
Okay.
8 to 10, probably, you know. And people, you know, I hear this. I watch social media. I don't do a lot of it, but I watch a lot of it to see what's going on. And it's interesting because, you know, people say, well, you know, they've talked to all these people and they do this and they do that, a lot of duh. But, you know, if you're looking for 2 and they say, well, you know, I don't like to talk to my friends and relatives, so I'm just using social media. I really disagree with that. I really do. Now, I've got some pretty negative relatives too. I mean, it's all your relatives go, oh, I love your success. It's wonderful. That's not what happens. That's not reality. They say, what's he up to now? You know, or what's going on, or, you know, the trust issues, all those things, and the negative relatives, the negative friends, you know, all those things. We all have them. But who do you owe it to the most? You've got this incredible product that helps people stay healthy or get healthy, depending on what's going on, you know. Don't you owe it to the people you know to show it to them? I'll show it to them later. Well, you know what? I think those people are great targets. They're great practice. You know, if nothing else, they're great practice. You can call them up and say, hey, listen, I'm just going to involve the company called ZJ. It's something I'm excited about. I want to talk to you about it. And so you do the same thing like I always do with everybody. With your permission, I want to send you a quick video, and I want to sit down with you and talk about it, something like that, you know. And you know what? You might be surprised. Some of those relatives might just join you. Some of them might not. But you know what? You get a couple of customers from your relatives. Don't they need it too? Yeah. Or you can go talk to 100 people that you don't know and maybe get 1 or 2. I don't know. That's I'd rather up my odds and talk to people that I know first Because, and now when I say that, I'm not talking about the general. I'm talking about people that I know. My list of names of people that I know that I trust, and I know they trust me. And with that, I know I can usually at least get to second base. You know, so don't count anybody out when you're making that list of people, because everybody should be on it, not just strangers. You don't even know them. The people we have a responsibility to are the ones we know.
Right. And isn't it a wonderful thing that we actually get to work with people we love, trust, and respect?
Yeah.
That's not always true in many, many professions.
Right. And a lot of times, let's face it, some of the people we do meet along the way, we don't know them yet either. And yet we all have people we've sponsored that we didn't know. We know well now, and I'm not saying discount any of those other methods of prospecting. I've got a list here of 165 names that are new to me that I've got off LinkedIn. 165 over the last few months. Now I'm starting to contact them and do that sort of thing. Now, that's a little slower process. You can't just attack those people. So there's a method to doing that. But you know what? When I say attack, I don't mean that in a negative connotation. You just can't go dumping all over them, And so, but I have a problem dumping on my relatives.
Right.
I don't want to do an information dump, but I want to expose them to it. I want to tell them why I'm excited. There again, it's that energy. If you go in, it's all about that energy. If you're sincere, you'll get somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
If you're stiff and scared and all that, you're going to have some challenges. But there's always a little fear anyway, and all of us have some of that, in situations. But if you're sincere and enthusiastic, that's magic.
Yeah. And I think it's okay to be authentic if you're nervous. Say, I'm just starting. I'm not quite sure I'm going to do this right, but I want you to know about it. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's that new person say to you? That's okay. Relax. It's just me. It's okay. It's okay. I think we make a much bigger deal out of those things than need to be. Do we have to make the perfect presentation? No, you don't. I've been taught for so many years, you talked about, first of all, tell your story. Why are you here? Why am I here? Hey, a couple burps in the system we were belonged in. We needed to change horses, so to speak. And, we found a great company. Here's what we found about them. They're awesome. Here's our experience with the product. Here's our experience with the business. You can do that in just a couple of minutes, condense it down, but be excited about it, Then you talk about the company itself. You talk about the industry of network marketing. You talk a little bit about the product and maybe your experience, not the whole product line, just a focus point on what you're excited about, Most people talk about Moringa, for heaven's sake. What's not to talk about? It's awesome, So that's cool, And then you talk a little bit about comp plan. How do you do that? Well, you know what? It's really simple. Take a piece of paper out, draw you on a circle, and one right, one left. One right, one left. And David Moses told me that, early on, he said, if you do that, you do that just for a couple of years, you're probably making a couple $1,000s a month in residual income just from doing that, if you do that regularly on a consistent basis. Okay. Now, if it's a really, really big thinker, you got to bring somebody else into the equation.
Right.
That's when you start leveraging. You leverage your upline. You get somebody in there who has made big dollars in this business. Bring in a David Moses, bring in Pat Anderson, bring yourself, and you guys have all made a lot of money in this business. So leverage again. So it's your story, it's company, industry, product, comp plan, and then the most important thing, you. What's in it for you? What's in it for you? And talk about them a little bit and all that sort of. Of course, you should already have done some of that in your pre-talk. Because you know what, my favorite question to ask people, and we're kind of jumping all over the place here. I get my thoughts are going a mile a minute now. Is if you could change one thing in your life, just one, what would it be? Right now, if you could change one thing in your life right now, what would it be? And shut up and listen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can ask more questions from that. Because most people have never taken the time to think about that.
It's true. People have lost hope.
Yeah,
and they stopped thinking about it.
Yep. I'm just stuck here in this JOB for the rest of my life. I'm paying my bills. I guess it's okay. But they're not necessarily overly happy about it. They're just there. So I tell it like this. They're doing life, not living life. Mm. So we want people to... it doesn't matter what we want, but generally speaking, if we get them to think differently, some really amazing things can happen.
It's awesome. Oh, this is just wonderful, Reid. And I know people are madly taking notes. I'm glad this is recorded so I can go back and copy down some of the languaging that you've used. It's really, really helpful. I'm going to take a moment here now, since I promised I would do some questions. Okay. So one is, which 3-minute video? And they probably want to know how to find it, that you mentioned before.
Okay. The 3-minute video is the animated introduction to Zija, who somebody made. I don't even know who made it, whatever. It's on clubmoringa.com. If you just go to clubmoringa.com, click on presentations. It's one of the very first ones. I think it's on the right-hand side. You'll see it there.
Excellent. Okay.
Very simple. Really simple.
Yeah, it's a wonderful video. And I'll ask you this. Do you just send one link at a time?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, we get excited. We overload people. We want to send volumes of, not books, but we have this information dump. We're so excited. We want to show them all this stuff one at a time. Let's pique their interest first, right? Peak, pass, plug. Let's pique their interest first, then pass them a tool, which would be a video. It's kind of like going fishing, you know. If they grab the hook, then you can give them something else. At that point, I try to get somebody else on a call with them.
After one exposure.
After one exposure, absolutely. Bring somebody else in as soon as possible. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And if they need more information first, you just keep sending them one at a time until you can move them to step 3. Is that right?
Yep. And I love the short things. In today's world, if you send somebody something that's a half an hour long, they're not going to watch it. Or they'll watch it for a couple minutes and they'll get distracted and they're up to something else. So I like the 3 minutes. I think it's like 3 minutes and 26 seconds or something. The video, it's short, sweet. And I tell them, hey, it's short, but in that 3 minutes, there's a lot of information in there. Mm-hmm. It's really power packed with information.
Now, and that's just focusing on Moringa, not the opportunity. Do you ever use sort of an opportunity link? And if so, which one do you like best?
Yeah, on the same place. If you go to clubmoringa.com, there is I can't remember what it's called though. It's a David Moses video, and it's a promotion video. It's on the same page. You know, go to clubmoringa.com, hit presentations, and I believe it's on the left-hand side, just the opposite of the other one. And it's just another 3 or 4 minute video talking about the opportunity. It's really good. Great energy, a lot of great pictures and stuff. It's really good.
Yeah, I think it's about the same length too. It's really short.
Yep, same length, and it's on the same website. And every one of those, if you just put your cursor over the picture, it gives you the option to send it or to somebody, email or Facebook or whatever. It's really great, really easy.
Yeah, another shout out to Pat Anderson and her brilliant tech guy, Tim Pennington, for making that possible for us. It's just so well put together. Yep. Good. Let me see if I have... here we go. Simple and duplicatable. Thank you for reminding us all. It's one of your notes there for you, Reid. And one up here I missed. Are outlines available for the topics weight management, oils that are helpful, recipes, etc.?
Yeah, right there at clubmoringa.com. If you click on, I believe it's products. Mm-hmm. There's a whole library there of videos made by Dr. Plant on all the products. It's pretty good stuff. All short videos, 3 or 4 minutes, and but very, very good. Very good. Yeah,
great. Now, if anyone else has another question here, this is the time. Go ahead and put it in. Let me just roll to the top, make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay. Very good. Well, let's recap then for folks. We know what not to do then, right? We're complicating this. And I think there's this idea that, typically in most professions, you do need to know a lot before you can begin. This is the antithesis of anything I'd ever done. You would never approach something in my field without having studied and background and then practiced and rehearsed and all of this, right? It's so different that I think it's very uncomfortable. I like to say the smarter you are, the harder this is to do because you have to surrender knowing.
Yeah, for sure. And, the best thing you can do is OJT, right? On the job training, bring somebody else in, let them present, let them talk about things. If you feel inadequate, which you probably are when you're brand new, so what? Somebody else isn't, so bring somebody else in, and if I've got, people in our group, I see Mary on there, and I know Mac and Pat, Dennis Estes, some of these, Tony Scoma, these people, they can present for you. Mm-hmm. Larry, Mary Lou, there's Pam and Charles. There's so many people just in our group that you could call on for a three-way phone call or a three-way Zoom, whatever. We're doing some of those this afternoon, just because somebody's new and we're bringing other people in, you know. But yeah, don't complicate it and don't think you have to know it all. Like I said, it's not wrong to want the knowledge. Just get it in your unproductive time, and then don't think you have to dump it all over everybody. It's nice to know, but when I ask Pat Anderson a question, especially about oils, because I knew zero about oils coming here, it was a whole new world, and so I had to ask her, and she'd give me some answers and stuff. That was great. So she was my little guru for oils. Now she says, Google it. Right? Google it. So, what oil would I use for gout? Well, Google it. What essential oil would I use for gout? And it'll actually tell you. And then you go to the product that we have. I mean, it doesn't give you a product name or a company. Usually it just says, here's an essential oil. Well, we have that essential oil. So don't think you have to know it all. Just don't do that. You just don't. You just go to work.
That's right.
You want a business to grow, go to work, be excited, be happy. People wonder what you're up to when you smile at them, So it's one of those things where, like I said, your energy will attract them more than your knowledge will.
So for your daily method of operation, let's just do a bird's eye view of a day in Reid's life and Reid and Yvonne's life of doing this business.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there you go. No. How was it? Was it good for you?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So it's a day in my life starts in the morning, early generally, and I do some reading first thing. I always read something first thing. I've read this twice. I really like this little book. Gary Cox was at our convention, at the summit.
Which book?
You can't fillet a nibble. It's the catch that counts.
Wonderful.
I love that little book. I've read it twice. I like it very, very much. So I always try to read things positive every day. I read Think and Grow Rich every year, at least once. People say, what? Yeah. You got to read good things. You got to feed your mind. It's very, very important. I also am a rather spiritual person, so I read a chapter a day of the scriptures. So I do a little positive reading, a little scripture reading first thing in the morning, and then I can begin, okay? And my goal every single day is to contact 10 new people just for us, okay? And that's generally done on texting, okay? Now that I've got all these names on the LinkedIn, we'll start contacting them through the LinkedIn messaging service there, and we'll start doing that. But that goal is to contact 10 people every single day for us, personally, frontline, sponsoring, okay? Because are you wide enough? Has anybody sponsored enough people yet? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. David Moses is still sponsoring.
Right.
In our other business, we were there for 25 years. We were still sponsoring, still looking, because there are people out there that want what we have. For heaven's sake, you never stop, But in this case, most people on this are pretty new. So, you go on to personally sponsor. If you know it's going to take, the old law of thirds, if you talk to 9, you probably get 3 no's, 3 maybes, and 3 yeses. Well, the maybes are gone already, so you don't have to worry about them. The no's are already done. So, so you're going to get about a third. And we'd like to change that number, but that's the reality of it today. It's about a third. So contact enough people every day that a third of them will talk to you, and maybe a third of them will join you. That'd be 1 every week. Now, what would your business look like if you sponsor 1 new person every week? Or add a new customer every single week? In a year, your business looks totally different than it does right now. And so that's what we do. Every single day we do that, okay? And then we have, I'm looking at it right now on my other screen over here. We have a schedule. We've got, like today, we've got 3-ways set up and other things like that. We plan differently than most people. And I've taught this for years. We use a reverse calendar. And that looks like this. Put everything on your calendar when you know you can't do the business. When you can't do it. Okay, I've got school things, I've got plays, I've got whatever. We got grandkids. We got, back at 11:30, we're going to a ball game for a little while. Then we'll come back to the 3-way calls. But we put everything on the calendar when we know we cannot do this business. Some days are out. We don't do Sundays, okay? So that's just gone, okay? We don't do Sundays, okay? So we put everything on the calendar. If there's a church meeting, if there's a ball game, if there's a birthday party, whatever it might be, fill the calendar up with those things first. Because if you don't do that, I can't do this now. I can't go here because this come up. Well, if you put them all in there first, Everything else is open game for your business.
Mm.
Okay. And so that's how we do it. We fill up the calendar with everything we already know we cannot do, when we can't do it, then everything else we can do it. Okay. Then it just starts filling up from there. So then it's like this week I've done 3 one-on-one meetings where I did for ourselves. We met with somebody, went over the program with them, and they were at second, third stage people who already got their interest, and I met with them and showed them some product, gave them something to drink firsthand. By the way, that's important. If you're going to meet with somebody, take something already mixed up and give it to them.
Mm.
Don't give them a packet and say, try this. 90% of that ends up in the trash.
Mm. Good point.
But if you take them a drink already mixed, try this. You got a really good shot. Oh, that's not bad at all. Yeah, that's right. It's not bad at all, is it? People think of green, they think it's slime going down their throat. This is not slime. This is good stuff. It tastes good and it's healthy. So take some with you.
I love the reverse scheduling, and it reminds me of something I always like to communicate to people. We don't stop our lives to do Zija. That's the beauty of this profession. We get to do it in and around our life. And that the way you frame that out really, I think, takes a lot of pressure off people to realize, no, family's first. You have things in your life that are priority. No matter how strong this why is, obligations you have to meet. It's not a problem, right?
Well, you have a job. Shut up at work. I mean, it's not your job to jump all over people at your job. You're going to lose your job if you do, So those are the 6 or 8 hours you can't. Now, lunchtime, fair game. When I was not full-time in our other businesses years ago, I would meet with people at lunchtime 2 or 3 times a week, have appointments at lunch. I mean, we have to fill in every crack of time we have.
Right.
I call that the crack of time. You go an hour on seminar just on the cracks of time. But we all have cracks of time. If you're new, we don't have to spend 20 hours a week doing this. We know you're not going to do that. Don't kid yourself. So it's one of those things where if you just reach out 10 times a day via text, that'll take you maybe a half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Tops if you're a really bad typer like me. It takes you a while to put all that stuff in there, but you can cut and paste and do the same message over and over again. No big deal. Shouldn't take very long at all to make 10 contacts and then respond. But the last thing I just want to talk about is follow-up.
Okay.
It is the absolute weakest part of any network marketing business. We think that, and I've been guilty of it millions of times over the years, somebody said yes to an appointment. Yes, we got one. Hallelujah. Oh boy, well, that's just the beginning, right? And we let our guard down at that point sometimes. And sometimes, we think it's a victory just to have somebody who called us back, and by the way, that is a victory. There's nothing wrong with that. It's awesome. That's just the beginning. Follow-up is the most critical part of this business. People say, how do you do this year after year, all these years? Because I'm an expert dripper. Mm-hmm. I drip on people. We sponsored a guy on March 9th, 2016. Mm-hmm. Almost 2 years ago. He bought a gold pack, stuck it in the closet, and everything with it. He liked the Super Mix, took it once in a while. Did absolutely nothing. All of a sudden, his world has turned upside down. A lot of challenges, a lot of stuff goes on. All of a sudden, this becomes maybe the vehicle to change my situation. That was not this week we just ended, but the week before last. Mm-hmm. He got engaged mentally on Monday, Builder 500 by Friday. Wow. Be a bronze next week. He's going to work really hard to do that. If he does or not, it's up to him. But it's one of those things where I've been dripping on that guy for almost 2 years.
And give us a little detail about what dripping is to you in terms of like time frame, material.
Yeah, maybe once a month I'll just reach out and say hi. I mean, literally just call them up. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? You okay? What's happening? Blah, blah, blah. I'm always sending them little articles about the business, about Moringa, I'll Facebook him sometimes. When we were in Mexico last year on the Diamond Retreat thing, I sent him a little something from there. It's just not letting him go. Sometimes people take a no or somebody who's not doing anything as an absolute gospel. He's not going to do anything, and they just leave him alone. Well, then they will die. They will. But if you just drip on people, they know you love them. I mean, really, I'm sincere about that. I like these people. Him, I really like. He's a great guy. I've known him for many, many years, and I don't want to let him go. And it doesn't take any time. Once a month, I email him something. Big deal.
Right.
I call him and say, hi, how you doing? What's going on? No big deal. Once a month, I do that. Once a month, I do that. Sometimes it's twice a month, but usually just once. Just keep him, not letting the rope get too far out there. Just
Right.
reeling them in, just keeping them here. And you do that with people, every 6 months, everybody's life changes. Everybody's. Mine, yours, everybody. It's either good or bad, whatever, it doesn't matter. Something changes at least every 6 months in somebody's life, And so what happens when in this situation, if I'm not dripping on this guy and I've totally lost contact with him and something major happens, as it did, and I'm not there.
Mm-hmm.
And major things happen. Maybe he'd be reaching out to somebody else who was dripping on him. I don't know. So I just think it's a good thing to do. When you have somebody you don't want to lose, just drip on them. You may never get them. I don't know. It's worth a phone call once a month or something to email or something you can text them or a positive statement that you found somewhere. Maybe it's a spiritual thought. So I don't know. Just something. You know what? And if we do that, it's a good thing.
And the worst case scenario, they never come in. They had someone that they know cares about them, thinking about them, and keeping in touch, staying connected.
You got a friend.
Right.
Yeah. And he's a friend. No matter if he did this or not, he'd be my friend. It's no big deal. But this one worked out. Most of them don't. So what? If you don't do it, it'll never happen.
Right.
So it's real important. It's just another element of the business. When people say no, we know that the average person takes 5, 6, 7, 8 times in contact with them to actually say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they're in that process diligently, it takes time. You don't call somebody up, yep, I'm in. Now that's happened, but that's pretty rare.
Yeah, it's true. And I've had the same experience. People have called me back 2 years later, same thing, because I just send them cool stuff along the way. Here's a new product, what have you. And I'm always surprised when it happens. It's delightful. You're right. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does happen, it's usually someone who really wants this. And, they end up thanking me for not having ever given up on them.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Exactly.
At first, I used to feel I was bothering people, showed them a few things and they didn't respond until I got that first thank you. And I realized, wow, you know what? People are just so busy. There's so much distraction out there. We're overwhelmed. It's hard to have that singular focus before you really understand what this is, which if you're just looking at it, you couldn't possibly yet. We know. So it really is our job. It's kind of like if someone says, look, you initiate a conversation, the person responds, and then you never say anything again. That'd be weird. It's almost weird not to follow up. And it took me a while to kind of realize that it's not their responsibility to follow up with themselves. Right?
No, they can't follow up themselves. They're not going to do that. And I've got in my hands, I've got a stack. This is probably 50 pages. And one of these stacks, I was just looking for it real quick, is a drip list.
Is it what?
It's a drip list.
Okay.
I make lists, and I've got people that I'm actively pursuing on a list. I've got a drip list. Well, you know what? I'm not going to let them go. Down in Ecuador and other business, we had a massive business in Ecuador. We haven't gotten any of them to come, but I'm dripping. There'll be a time. There'll be a time. May not be now, might be later, might never be. I don't know. They're friends of mine. I know them really, really well. I just keep dripping, and I'm just going to continue to do that because I think it's a good thing to do. Just a good thing to do.
That's terrific. Okay, so as we close out here, just to recap, and correct me if I'm wrong. Start off, get really clear on your why, whatever that is. Then make sure that you're connected to your upline, so you have a team. You're not doing this by yourself. Share some more, keep sharing, stay plugged in, and then most importantly, follow up with the people you share with forevermore until they say stop. Is that about right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the day they tell me to knock it off, I will then do that. But people don't do that,
They don't.
And so it's, and if there's questions, that's what Tripline's for. Call them, bug them. It's okay to bug them. If there's anybody it's okay to bug, it's them. Hug your upline. It's fine. At least they know you want it. If you're having challenges, call them. Call them. They can help. You know, it's so important. And but really, the single most important thing is just talk to people. Have fun, relax as much as you can. Relax, you know, in those situations sometimes. But enjoy it. Be enthusiastic. Be excited about what you have. That we have such a great thing here. Oh my gosh! You know, I used to real quick. I used to have a little thing I've done. I haven't done this for a long time. It just popped into my head. So it's like, you know, if you were walking down a path in the woods and you came across a giant redwood tree with like you could drive the car through it, you know, type thing. Except it was just one side. It was like a cave, right? And there's wheelbarrows out in the front of it with a sign that says "Free Gold." Free gold. But you can only have one wheelbarrow full. So you go inside and by golly, there's just piles and piles of gold. You can load up and fill your whole wheelbarrow, but you can only take one. Okay? How quick would you go out and tell other people, come over here? Holy cow, there's gold over. Come on, let's go. That's what we have here.
Yeah.
That's what we have here. And so when I say serious, I mean, take that seriously. We have something that's so valuable to offer people. So get over your fear, and that comes from reading books. And that, really what that takes is just talking to people. It gets easier. Just talk to them. If you don't want to talk to them, text them. It's okay. They'll text back. You know, I think people like text because they don't get a lot of negativity on text. You know? But remember, we've got the pot of gold, and everybody's entitled to some of it. Why don't we share it?
Yeah. Oh, it's wonderful. Reid, I'm just ecstatic to have had this conversation with you. I know there are people out there that are just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Their messages are coming in. I just really appreciate your taking the time. Your input is invaluable. One of the things I love so much about you and Yvonne is that not only are you great leaders, but you're gracious, you're kind, you're humble, and you're generous. You are. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, you heard from the best. Just get out there, share, and then help your friends share with their friends. And that's all it really takes to succeed in this. Keep it simple. Keep it fun. Keep it magical. And remember, we're here. We're here to help you. So don't hesitate to reach out. All right, everybody. Thanks much and have a great Saturday. Bye-bye.